I know a lot of people are joining today, and welcome everyone who's already here. Great to see you. Thanks for joining, whether you're calling from morning, afternoon, evening. Really appreciate you showing up. My name is Ievgen. Also, here is Ilya with me from OWOX as well. He's an analytics solution architect. He is great at prompting data, so he will take the live part of this training today. So, today we are going to solve a problem that almost every marketer out there in the world, every growth manager, every chief of marketing struggles with, even if they have great dashboards with fancy charts, a lot of data, and great tools. And the problem is this: most marketers do not struggle with a lack of data. They struggle with a lack of clarity and a lack of clear action plan. If that sounds true, well, I hope it is. So just quickly type yes into the chat so we keep moving. So I know that I'm talking to the right people here today. So dashboards typically show what happened, but they very rarely show why it happened. And that gap, that missing layer, is why marketers lose time, budget, and opportunities every single day. So today I'm going to fix that for you. And I'm not exaggerating. By the end of this session, you will walk away with a practical, reusable method for turning any data into insights, a list of structured questions, data prompts that immediately reveal what's breaking in your ad campaigns, your sales funnel, your pages on the website, or your personal or your team KPIs, and a way to make better, faster decisions with much less guesswork. My promise is simple. Today, you will learn how to extract insights that your dashboards will never show you. And it's not theory. In the next 50 minutes or so, you will literally watch us generate real insights live using real data. We'll do some advertising insights, website pages insights, website funnel insights, something on conversions, and even the KPI digest for the marketing team. That's my personal favorite one that I use almost every day. And you will see it exactly how the right questions, not the dashboards, not the tools, the questions, unlock insights instantly. This is going to be fast, practical, and worth of your time. We're not going to sell you anything here today. So again, this is all about asking the right questions, about giving you the framework. Before we dive in, for anyone who doesn't know me or our company, I represent OWOX, a platform that helps data teams automate insights delivery for everyone within the organization: marketing, product, sales, finance, operations, C-level. Empower everyone with reporting using your existing data, other data sources, and using or not using AI. But again, today's webinar is not about us. It's not about OWOX. It's not about our product. Today is all about the framework, the method, the thinking that I hope will change how you work with data forever. And it doesn't matter which tools are you using. The structure for today is simple. I'll show you why marketers do not have a data problem, they have a question problem. I'll teach you the 4 questions that dashboards hide, but you need the answers to. And we'll give you the exact structure of a good data questions. We'll break down examples from e-commerce, maybe from SaaS, but mostly from e-commerce. And then we'll generate some live insights so you can see it in action. If this sounds good, let's go. All right, let's start with something that I think every single marketer here knows deep down way better than I am. And it's this: marketers do not have a data problem, marketers have a question problem. Most marketers genuinely believe they are missing some data or some reports, or that they need better dashboards, or more advanced reporting, or some magic attribution button. But here's the truth: most of marketers already have plenty of data, probably too much of it, and dashboards. They're great. It's only one thing: showing you what happens. They almost never show you why it happened and what should you do next, today, tomorrow, this week. And the gap between the what and why, that's where all the mistakes typically happen. That's where bad decisions happen. That's where money get wasted. And look, how many of you have stared at the dashboard, noticed performance dropped, and thought, okay, but why did this happen? What caused this decline or increase? Yeah, so that's all about it. And it's frustrating because dashboards look like they should answer those questions, but they do not. Dashboards tell you ROAS dropped, conversions fell, CPC increased, sign-up slowed down, page views went down, but dashboards never tell you which campaigns caused that decline. Sometimes they do, but in a very broad way. Which audience changed the behavior? Which funnel step got stuck? Which creative fatigued? Which landing page affected the friction the most? Which segment of your overall audience became unprofitable? Which KPI shift is actually important? And this is where the real problem starts. Because when marketers try to get answers, they usually ask questions that are too vague, too broad, asked too late, missing some classic analytics rules, missing some business context, some scope, missing what decision they want to make after asking those questions. Okay. Questions like, why did performance drop? Can you check our ads? Which channels performed best last week? These questions do not produce insights, they produce noise. And if you've ever asked a data analyst something vague, they know, they can feel it, and they hate it. So here is the key insight. The problem is not the tools, the problem is not the dashboard itself, the problem is the question. If you learn how to ask the right questions, the structured questions, you unlock insights instantly from the exact same data you already have. You don't need to become a data scientist or a data analyst. You don't need to master SQL. Well, someone on your team typically should, but that should not be you. And you don't need to rebuild the dashboards. But you need to change the way you ask questions because the quality of the insights always follows the quality of your questions. Almost the same as Tony Robbins says. And this is the part most marketers misunderstand. Let me show you the difference quickly. Reporting shows what's happened. Analysis tries to dig deeper into why it happened. Insights, that's the next level. It's about what it means. And the decision that comes after, that's about what you should do about it. Dashboards keep you stuck on the very first layer out of four. They don't move you beyond what happened. But insights, real insights, live in the transition from why, what, now. And that's exactly what we are going to build today. Today, I'll give you the framework that turns vague questions into clarity, confusing dashboards into direction, data into decisions. So if that resonates, if that is something you feel every day, just, yeah, type yes in the chat. I'll check it out. All right. Great. Perfect. Let's move to the part that changed everything for me, the origin story of how we actually discovered this method and why it works so well. All right, so how did we actually get to this frame? Because I didn't wake up one day thinking, oh, marketers have a question problem, not a data problem. No, this came from a lot of pain, ours and our customers. Let me tell you a quick story. For years at OWOX, we were helping companies build really great data setups, clean and organized data inside the warehouses, nicely structured, prepared business-ready tables, marketing data from Google Ads, Facebook Ads, TikTok Ads, whatever. Our cookieless real-time data streaming from the website. Also, we've been one of the biggest resellers of Google Analytics before we built our streaming. Dashboards everywhere, Looker Studio, Tableau, internal tools, Google Sheets. As of the moment, we have over 170,000 users from all over the world. Everything looked right, but the conversations with marketers we had were always the same. They would jump on the call and say things like, our ROAS dropped and we don't know why. Leads went down last week, but nothing changed in our marketing. We launched a new funnel and results are all over the place. And we share dashboards, reports, filters, drill downs, and still 20 minutes into the meeting, someone would always ask, okay, but what should we actually do now? And that's kind of the moment that hit us. It wasn't that they didn't have the data. It wasn't that they didn't have the dashboards. It's the questions they asked didn't lead to insights and actions. They led to more dashboards, more analytics work, more tabs on existing dashboards, more charts, and more confusion. And I remember one particular case. We were working with a team that had a huge media budget of millions of dollars, multiple advertising platforms, probably all of the ones you would say except for Reddit ads, several regions, and a beautiful dashboard with 20 plus pages that every marketing leader would love. We jumped on the call because Dave asked for help with analyzing data. You know, we have an incredible data analytics team in the house to help some of our clients in cases like this. We went to the dashboards, we looked at ROAS, we looked at all of the metrics, we compared weeks, we filtered by channel, by campaign, by device. We did everything possible with the dashboard. And after 30 minutes, one of them said, honestly, I feel like we're just looking at nicer ways to see the same problem. And they were right. We were just spinning around what happened. We weren't getting to why. We weren't getting to what to do now. And that was our fault too, not just theirs. Around that time, we started experimenting with AI and with prompting data, not just summarize this kind of prompts, but actually writing structured questions to data. Things like, from yesterday's campaign data with at least 20 clicks, show me the ones that performed significantly worse than their 7-day average in at least 2 or 3 metrics: purchase, conversion rate, and cost per purchase. Then explain the likely drivers and suggest the top 3 actions to take today. And for the first time, the answer that came back looked like an insight, not a report, not a current state instead of a wall of numbers. We got the 3 campaigns, weekend versus baseline. The main driver was CPC up and conversion rate down on mobile. Biggest impact is on this audience and this creative. Recommended actions: pause this, lower bids on this, test new creative on here. And when we showed this to the team, the reaction was, oh, this is what we wanted for so long. Same data, same campaigns, same platform. The only thing that changed was the right question, the right prompt. And that was the epiphany moment for us. It wasn't, we need better dashboards, we need more metrics, or we need a new tool. Now it was, we need to teach marketers on how to ask better questions. Because once the question is right, data analysts can respond with clarity. AI tools can respond with clarity. And data becomes a decision making instrument, not another headache. So we started writing more and more of those structured questions. We tested them with e commerce, with SaaS, with subscription businesses, with agencies, and we noticed something. The questions that worked all followed a similar pattern. They had the business context, the filters to reduce the non necessary noise, the rules of analysis to perform, a clear output structure, and a specific decision in mind. It wasn't magic, it was the structure. And since we are marketers too, we gave that structure a name. We call it the ANA method: ask, narrow, act. Or, if you like a more nerdy version, it's metric, question, insight, decision. And today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how it works. And once you see it, you will never be able to unsee it when you look at your own reports again. So now that you know where this came from, let me show you what we are going to cover today. Here's the roadmap for the rest of the session. Know that you understand why dashboards and traditional reporting often fail, let me give you the structure of the rest of the session for today. We're going to go through 5 parts in 40 minutes or so, and each one builds on the previous one. So by the end, everything will click together. Number one, we're going to show you the 4 questions that dashboards hide, that ones that you should be asking every single day or every single week, sometimes even a couple times a day. These are the questions that expose where performance really decays, which segments stop responding, which funnels get stuck, and where the money actually leaks. Dashboards won't show this, but these questions and the answers to them will unhide this for you. Number 2, you will learn how to detect shifts earlier. This is about spotting performance changes before the number fall off a cliff, before ROAS significantly drops, before cost significantly spikes, before conversions disappear, early signals and everything. And I'll show you exactly how to find them. Number 3, we'll teach you that exact structure of a good data question. This is the ANA method I mentioned earlier. Ask, narrow, act. This alone will save you hours every week, really. And so, number 4, we'll go through real examples from businesses like yours, e-commerce, subscription services. It doesn't matter actually here. You will see the questions, the insights, and the decisions that can follow. And you'll be able to use those patterns in your business. And number 5, my colleague Ilya, who is absolutely brilliant at prompting data, will jump in and generate some real insights. Just add the thinking about them. Uh, give what the reasons to write the prompts like that and to get the insights like that. So you'll see this process in action, not in theory. And by the end of today's session, you will know the questions that dashboards cannot answer, how to ask questions that produce insights, how to catch problems, and how to make faster, better decisions with much less guesswork. I hope that sounds good. Yeah, for some reason my image doesn't work, so I'll just try to explain what is there. Just imagine this. You open your laptop tomorrow morning, you grab a cup of coffee or a glass of water, and instead of opening 5 dashboards that you typically do, 10 tabs on them and 3 spreadsheets, you open your corporate messenger, like Slack, Microsoft Teams, Google Chat, whatever one you use. It's probably already opened on your laptop. And you get the notifications about what changed, why it changed, which parts of your funnel were impacted, and what you should do today. Imagine getting a morning briefing that says, here are the 3 campaigns that weakened yesterday, and here is why. Here are the landing pages that needs your attention today. Here's the segment that is getting more expensive. Act right now. Here are the recommended actions for today across your whole marketing strategy. No need to check any of the dashboards. No need to set up filters, change the dates just to find something. No need to figure out what's the noise and what actually matters. You'll just get the clarity, just state the problem, just recommended next steps. Imagine your team being able to catch the problems without checking dashboards. Fix issues as early as possible before they become expensive. Understand why performance changed without asking 5 people, and make decisions based on data with confidence, not guesswork. Now, here is the very important part. This is not some dream scenario. This is not someday's vision. This is simply what happens when you ask the right questions. That's it. Same data, same dashboard, same tool, same campaigns. Different questions, different insights. And today we will show you how to ask those questions step by step. Because if you can learn that ANA method, ask, narrow, act, this future becomes your everyday workflow. So let's get into the part that most dashboards hide, the part that unlocks everything else. The 4 questions that dashboards cannot answer, but you absolutely need to. So here's how we're going to go through these 4 questions. For each question, I will first show you the problem, the exact thing that the dashboard hide. Then I'll show you the prompt, the structured question that Ilya shared with me, the one that we use to pull the insights out of the data. And I'll explain everything how this prompt fits into our framework. Ask, narrow, act, the ANA method. Then Ilya will run the live demo using real sample data. So you can see how the insights appears instantly. And finally, I'll give you a very quick takeaway so you know exactly how to use this tomorrow morning. So let's start with the very first question. Yesterday's campaign changes. This is all about advertising. So which campaigns actually changed yesterday and why? The cool dashboard will show you the ROAS, the CPA, the CPC, the purchase volume, the spend. But here's what they won't show you. What's that movement significantly or just random noise? Which campaigns weakened versus their own baseline? Which metric actually caused that decline? Was it the audience or the creative? Was it upstream or downstream? And what should you actually do about this today? So let me show you the exact structured question, the prompt that turns this confusion into clarity. So that's the exact prompt we use. And yes, you will get all of this after the webinar. I'll probably just share with you either the slides or I just collect the prompt and send it to you. We'll start with a precise business question. Which campaigns declined in purchase efficiency yesterday? Not ROAS, not clicks, purchase efficiency, the real economic driver. We narrow the noise with clear rules. Compare each campaign to its own 7-day baseline. Apply consistent detection rules. Use more than 20 clicks as the noise filter. Require 2 of 3 conditions to trigger a flag. This removes randomness and highlights only meaningful changes. And we finish this with action. Scale back, protect, reallocate budget. And potentially link to deeper data so I can check it out. One question, one insight, one decision. Dashboards cannot do this. They will show you everything, but that the question and the answer will show you what matters. All right, so now let's see what this looks like with actual advertising data. Ilya, please share your screen and go ahead.
Oh, thanks for having me. So I'll start, if I may, I'll start with no screening. I just want to explain like why I'm on this webinar and how can I help. Basically, I'm not the person who runs the marketing day to day, but I'm working with teams that are responsible for acquisition or for the full funnel, down to the revenue or even to the net revenue. And working with these teams, like as many as you know, once you oversee the whole funnel, might be a lot of signals that are not enough, like not enough time and concentration to process them all. And basically, I want to share how we get into this kind of a framework and how to get to this kind of a real implementation to the project, implementation of the AI insights after prompting the real data. So honestly, there are 3 main things that matters for the projects I work with the most. The first one is seeing the clear picture of what's happening. Let's say planned fact by channel, planned fact overall by all the funnel metrics, and comparing this with a trend. That's what dashboards can basically handle. The second, and not, I believe the most important point here is the request from many projects was the following: please bring me all the people at one place, at one screen, so we would see the same numbers at the same time and can reflect to these numbers. And the possibility to do that is like the only possibility to do that is usually the team meeting. But in case of the real life, usually when you come to the meeting with your team and you will start seeing the dashboards, let's say dashboards, or maybe the numbers, or maybe the numbers in a spreadsheet, you start just to start figuring out what's happened. So you waste a lot of team time. You may waste the cumulative time of your team actually to like figure out what's happening before you act. And I believe that was the main trigger for everyone to say, okay, bring my data to the workspace so I can connect with my colleagues, discuss what's the priority. And that's the third point. Basically, when I see the data, I want to invite my colleague or pull them into the conversation and ask the additional questions, maybe to the data, maybe to the colleagues, so actually connect and understand the question why. So basically, from what I've learned, question why doesn't get, we don't get the question why just from the data. We get the answer to the question why from the data and from the context that we have with our colleagues. So everything that I'm going to show in a few moments is like there are examples based on the real world, but the data and the chats are synthesized. So I believe you understand we cannot share the real chats, the real cases. I mean the real conversation from the client's workspace. So we've pre-recorded some like video for you to, let's say, feel closer the real team atmosphere here. And I'm not sure if you're gonna relax from this, like from the atmosphere in your chats that make you feel relaxed, let's say that. But I believe that might represent what actually happens at your workspace. So I'll start with the first example. I have to, I just have to try the screen sharing. I've tried it for the first time. I'm not sure it works. Can you see my screen? Could you help me, please? Okay, got you. So that's the pre-recorded video. That's not a surprise. I'm not hiding anything. So I'm gonna share the example of what's actually happening in this case. So let me give you a short dive into what's happening in this kind of project. First, that's the digital marketing team. The strategic goal of this digital marketing team is to maximize digital revenue while keeping the return on ad spend above 2 points. And the case they're solving is to react quickly to the key performance downshift on their campaigns and increase their chances to meeting the plan, the overall plan. That's why actually we created and implemented the first example to this project on a daily basis. So they receive this information, this inside the structured narrative with the numbers on a daily basis. And I'm gonna explain how it actually works in this case. So let's look at the first insight. The goal is simple. Highlight the key campaigns that are underperforming today. And oh, not sure if it's a question.
I'll be perfect.
Okay, happy you joined. So once again, the goal is simple. Highlight the campaigns with a top spend that are underperforming today and make my team react immediately not waiting for the meeting, not spending all the meeting to actually figure out what's happening with our numbers. And let's say act, reallocate budgets before the impact gets bigger. And my example is not only on the Facebook campaigns. We actually had data mart, the data for many campaigns, and we had the data for the full scale funnel. So basically, from the impressions to the purchases. Uh, that's how the case has been created. So to support this workflow, we've adjusted the prompt, as you can see here, adjusted the prompt in two important ways. First, we ask for insights on a daily basis because the speed matters the most here. The second is we add constraints that uh, that the assistant that comes to this chat doesn't surface the noise. For example, let's say if I ask the prompt to just bring me the campaigns which has the ROAS drop, it might bring me the campaigns that's, let's say, somewhere in the long tail of my campaigns. So we actually are trying to limit this case with clicks or with the top spending campaigns to focus on the key campaigns that uh, don't work as we expect them in terms of purchases, conversion rate, CPO, and ROAS. And here you can see the campaigns. Like there are 3 campaigns here. Let me drive it. Oh, sorry. Does it work? Yeah. Here you can see 3 types of campaigns like Meta Broad Interest, Google Search, Performance Max, and we see the top 3 campaigns that had drops. And not less important, we not only see the campaigns, but we also decided to add some kind of a simple recommendations to this case. And in these recommendations, like let's say, first of all, I would say that the recommendations um, are not the decisions that made the client that the client makes. It's just the highlight of the problem that they have to focus on. And here we can see that some of those campaigns are actually highlighted to not to be paused. Some of them are, let's say, highlighted to be reduced by spends, maybe shifted. The spend should be shifted to another campaign. And not less important, at the end of this conversation, we provide to the client in their workspace. They use Slack actually. We provide the proof, the campaign efficiency report, so they can dig deeper, go into this spreadsheet. It is updated, and it was sent to actually prove all those numbers that we see here. So that's the first step. That's the first option. So the client has 2 options. First option is to go after this insights, go and figure out what happens with those campaigns in those spreadsheets. The second option is to continue communication in the workspace. And here how it goes. So we see the problem. We see that the search and search product campaigns actually have a recommendation to reduce the spend. And we have a team of the head of marketing, of the data analyst, marketing manager, which involve in this process. And the first good question when we see the data is, okay, let's say if we have this kind of recommendation to reallocate the budget to another campaign, how does this campaign actually perform? And in the flow we've constructed, any manager can ask additional questions to bring down additional information, as additional piece of data uh, with some metrics in it to prove uh, this campaign high intent if it actually performs well. So, but that might be also not enough because we have this case. We actually work and we see information about this case only from one angle. We want to understand more. So the manager asks if we can drill down to the ad groups or creatives to find out what in this campaign where we have the recommendation to increase the budget, what ad groups or what creatives works the best. And the communication proceeds because this is all this are extraction questions. If we have them in the data mart, uh, in the existing data mart, which we apply our prompt to, we can ask more and more questions to the same data mart because basically this is some kind of a proof of our source of truth. Let's say that. So when we're getting deeper to these questions, we start in the team. The team starts to figure out what really happens, and what they figure out by asking questions. And you can see we can ask also. Okay, we can ask the trend question. Let's figure out how it works in week by week. Does it reduce or not? What happens with the top of the funnel? And asking question by question, the team understands that the real problem that influenced all the campaigns that were in the list beginning of this conversation is that the top of the funnel campaigns do not work as expected. So the head of marketing actually asks for additional questions like, uh, can we drill down to the product? Which can we ask our data which product pages or which SKU were reflect those numbers. And in some cases, I truly believe that we know how AI works, right? We can ask any questions and it will get back to us that everything is fine, you're doing perfectly, you're asking very good questions. But the problem is that sometimes we don't have the data for these questions. So we've created the flow when the business user, if they ask a question and the dimension is not in the data mart, the assistant that extracts the data will politely, let's say, answer that we don't have the data, and you can actually invite the data analyst to highlight this case. So that's how the flow actually works. And if we're speaking about the this particular example, the idea of this flow by communication with, like, asking additional questions, digging deeper again and again, the team have found that the real problem is with meta broad campaign that actually works on the top of the funnel. And that was supported by the data. So this is one of the examples where you can find the answer, not just the answer from the dashboard, but where you can communicate between the context that your team have and the data that might not have this context, and join them together to find real answers. So that's the first example. Ievgen, I can pass the conversation to your side.
Sure.
Uh, I just have to stop. Yeah. Oh, okay. I have to stop.
All right. I'll get it back to you quite soon, maybe in a minute or so. So thank you so much, Ilya. So here's the takeaway from this question number one and the flow that Ilya explained. So one structured question and the conversation that follows it, what it does. So the 30 minutes of dashboard scrolling, this one turns into a 10-second insight and much deeper insights after that team conversation with an immediate action plan. And this alone saves teams thousands of dollars every month by just catching the issues and acting faster than before. All right, let's go to the question number 2. Where is my funnel leaking today and for whom? Dashboards will love to show you funnels.
Ievgen, sorry,
Visit.
I believe I'm not sure you're sharing the screen, the presentation.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, I
All
don't
right.
see. Maybe I don't see it.
Typically, it looks like the visitor, the product view, the add to cart, the checkout, the purchase. But here's what dashboards never show you, or rarely show you. Which specific step actually dropped and influenced the final metric, which is typically the revenue. Is the decline meaningful or it's just noise and it doesn't affect the whole funnel results? Is that the problem on mobile, on desktop? Are they new visitors, returning visitors? Who are struggling? Is it site-wide, or it caused by a single product category or a single group of landing pages? And the most important, what actually caused this? Dashboards show the funnel, but they don't tell you where it broke, why it broke, and how to fix it. And this is why teams lose revenue quietly. They see the purchase drop, but sometimes it's just too late. So let me show you the structured question, and Ilya will illustrate this. So that's the exact prompt for the website funnel performance review. Please review yesterday's website conversion funnel and highlight any meaningful performance decline compared to the 7-day rolling average. Again, in your case, it might be 14 days, 28 days, 30 days, whatever one you wish. The final steps are this: visitor to product page view, product page view to add to cart, to checkout, checkout to purchase. Then we narrow it down. We add the detection rules. Flag a drop as significant if the steps conversion rate decreases by at least 20% versus the 7-day average. After the overall check, rerun the analysis for desktop versus mobile, new versus returning visitors. Flag any funnel step where the drop is meaningful for either dimension. And then act. Specify which steps changed and by how much. Indicate whether the change appears site-wide or it's just isolated. Recommend the most likely root cause and suggest the corrective actions. So we ask a very specific question here. And this is how you can catch the revenue leaks as early as possible by analyzing your funnel. And now let's see it live. Ilya, please share your screen. Go ahead and let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Okay. So let me explain it briefly. So what we were fixing, the flow was working not usually in companies. The flow with getting the extraction of data usually works not with a dashboard, because dashboard, when you build it, it asks for a limited amount of questions. It prepares for the questions, but they're always limited. So whenever the business has the next question, business user, they ask for the next CSV. What we're trying to fix in this case is to reduce the number of the amount of CSV requests to the data analytics department, because they were they were drowning in the tickets. And that's a short intro for this case. So the question was, okay, from the business, from the same team, from the data, from digital marketing team, the same question. Okay, we're working with the campaigns, but the campaigns is not the only thing that we can influence and what we own. Actually, we also own the digital instruments like mobile application, like website. And we believe that the traffic might be quite well. We are doing great with the traffic issues. However, the website or the matching between the landing page or the page that the user actually were looking for and this user might not be good. And we want to see the conversion rate step by step from the impression to the revenue, uh, the simplified customer journey, and we want to see the conversion drops to figure out why the conversion drop actually happened. In this particular case, we decided to give uh, give a rest for the chats and for AI Insights and send this notifications once a week before the website and e-commerce meeting. Why we decided to do that? Because any change in the website or mobile application are not happening on a daily basis. They have to be planned and the data has to be collected. So the question is, okay, we want to see in a segmented data, we want to see the drops that reflect the conversion week by week. And the standard segmentation of the e-commerce business, for other types of business, there are different segmentation, is to at least have the device, the visitor type, the region, the channel, um, maybe some other additional dimension that would be required for this kind of segmentation to understand what happens when we try to link the traffic and our customer journey. And in this case, we also limited with a 12% drop, not to see all the changes, that because it would be just a mess in our chat. So once a week, we deliver this information. All the team sees a single piece of information they can react on. And in this case, we the AI Insights highlighted that there was a conversion drop and the product page to the add to cart step, primarily on mobile and the new visitors. However, when we see the breakdown and we can prop the same piece of information to provide this breakdown and compare the segments to ensure that the problem is in a single segment, not in a whole on a whole traffic. So we can see here that the problem is definitely with mobile, but the new visitors, their customer journey were damaged the most. It didn't reflect actually the desktop, so we can dig deeper. We can dig deeper in this in this case. So what we can see here, what's the next good question? The next good question is to drill down to the category level. What categories, is there any kind of dependency that some categories have the massive drop in the conversion rate? And we can ask this question to get the piece of data that would answer this question. And we can see here that some of the categories really influence in this case. However, it doesn't, like, it explains a lot. We can see here the conversation that the manager from the marketing side tells us that, okay, that explains because we had some changes in these categories. We changed the images, and maybe something goes not so well with the traffic, so they're not matching. We don't link them very good. So that's just the one angle. And from the past case, from the previous case, we've learned that there should be different angles to understand what happens with the data. So we ask additional question. Maybe there are any dependencies when we look at the segment and figure out what's what happens with the traffic sources? Do they reflect this in the same way, or maybe a single channel provides this job? And we can see here that yes, there is a massive drop for the paid social comparing to the past week. By the way, from my experience, I like to compare, let's say if we go weekly, I like to compare with last previous 4 weeks, so previous 28 days. If we go daily, then previous 28 days. That gives a better average when we talk about the trends. So getting back to this, yes, we see that the paid social traffic doesn't work well with this segment, mobile new visitors. And the team can understand that that happened because of their actions in the past week, because they've made some changes specifically for the mobile. And we can see that all the traffic sources had this drop. Paid social may have the biggest drop, but all the channels had this. We can dig deeper and figure out like what are the engagement. If we have the engagement in our data mart that was prepared, we can dig deeper and ask for the engagement metrics like bounce rate, less scroll depth, which makes us bring us more context, but we still have to figure out the answer ourselves. And then, like at that point, there are two options. What could happen? First, maybe the landing page speed, because of the heavy images, and then it doesn't work well. Maybe the creative mismatch. Okay, let's try to figure out the average page load, and it answers us that yep, it went up, and maybe that's the biggest made the biggest influence in this drop. What we can do at the same time, we can ask, let's say, our analyst, when we see this kind of actions and we missed the week, right? We missed the week. We can ask our analyst to prepare another data mart that can work at a daily basis and send us the drops in the average page load to figure out if we didn't broke anything and it won't influence our sales or revenue plan.
So thank you so much. So my takeaway from what we've just seen, this question showed the funnel links, and not just the link, it shows where, from whom, why, and what to fix first. This turns the funnel report from just a static report into a real-time system that shows the warning, allows to go back to analyze deeper. And let's go to the next question. Which pages drive revenue and which pages are losing it? Because most marketers look at the page level metrics like page views, sessions, time, page bounce rate, but they rarely see the problems unless you really heavily apply filters for every meaningful dimension 10 different times across all different dates. Which pages actually contribute to purchases? Which pages declined in conversions this week? Which pages hurt revenue even through the traffic stayed the same? Which pages improved for mobile, but not for desktop? And the other way around. Which pages became bottlenecks in the journey because traffic doesn't mean value? A page with high traffic can be a revenue black hole. A page with modest traffic can be the biggest moneymaker. And we all know this. So let me show you the exact question, the prompt that reveals which pages matter today. So that's the one we use. The ask part. Please review yesterday's website performance and identify the pages that contributed the most to purchase, as well as any pages that underperformed versus their 7-day average. We narrow it down by applying the following rules. Calculate each page's purchase contribution score based on the traffic, the conversion rate, and the purchase share. Flag any page where purchase contribution dropped by at least 50%, 15% in versus its 7-day average. Segment results by desktop versus mobile, new versus established visitors. Highlight pages that saw meaningful declines in either device or visitor group. Then list the top pages contributing to purchases yesterday. Identify pages with the biggest negative contribution change. Suggest likely causes and recommend the top 3 pages that deserve immediate actions. That's it. Let's see in action. Let's see it in action. Ilya, please go ahead. As we are running out of time, we can probably do this demonstration slightly shorter than the previous one, but then we can go ahead.
I believe you understand the framework. So we ask once with the prompt, and this part, when we receive the data with the narrative, that's the reply to our question. And then with the recommendations, with our additional questions digging deeper, we narrow this, and only then bringing both team context, what happened, what we did actually, and the data, we set up actions. It works well when you really don't want to spend and waste time on the team meetings trying to figure out what may happen with your results. It usually this framework is what works the best when you want to go to the team meeting with the answers and maybe some actions that done before before this meeting. So speaking about the pages, my main point here is that we usually just forget about how pages work, because in some cases, well, when we start campaigns, we think that this is the right page, and we look only at the campaign conversion rate, because the page is right. It's everything with the page. Why we have to do something with our campaign. We have to correct it. The thing is that this is kind of useful thing, because we have this in the dashboard and information in the dashboard as well. So we can figure out what landing pages are work. We can figure out the conversion rate. We can figure out how many visits were there, how many orders, and so on. But what we don't do, we don't usually look at this place, and we lose the momentum where the page starts burning out. So the recommendation here is just to have those kind of notification and check if there are a significant drop comparing to the past week, or comparing to the maybe the past couple of weeks for a specific page. So let's say in this example, it's a summer sale collection. That's where we have the drop. And yeah, we can add to the recommendation a specific information where the drop was, or in which channel it was, right? I'm not going to read all the conversation, but in this case, we also might see that, or we might figure out that we need to figure out the dependency in the mobile, in the platform. So, like, if this landing page works well with the mobile, maybe not working well with the desktop, and that's what we can check to get the full scale picture of the pages. However, what we can see here is that with all the pages are working well, when we start digging deeper into the summer sale, we understand that it might be the case where we have to change the flow for a specific mobile customer journey and do some tasks for our product designer. Again, bringing the context, bringing the data, joining them together, and only then we can provide the good action. Ievgen, go on.
Let's move to the question number 4. This one is important for the entire team, not just for a specific area of it. It's all about what changed this week or yesterday or whatever odd period that you want to analyze that actually deserves your attention, because dashboards overwhelm us with numbers, sessions, CPC, CTR, ROAS, revenue. All that is important, but not equally important. All of them move in different directions. Metrics are interconnected. And that's what dashboards cannot tell. Like you can add a lot of conditional formatting inside, but you cannot add it for everything. Which of those movements actually matter? Which shifts are meaningful versus noise? Which trends are emerging early? Which channels need attention? Which audience groups change behavior? So what happens? Marketing team starts their Monday by scrolling dashboards, discussing in the meeting, opening different tabs, checking multiple metrics, hoping something jumps out, and it rarely does. And this is why teams miss important shifts until the end of the month, or worse, until quarterly reviews, or until performance drops so hard that you cannot ignore it. So let me show you the structured question, the prompt that turns the weekly house into one clear, actionable marketing KPI digest. This is how to prompt it. The ask part. Please generate a weekly performance digest for the marketing team summarizing meaningful changes in the past 7 days compared to the previous 7 days. Include only the KPIs that matter for the business. And here you need to include the KPIs and the values for them that you have. Apply the following logic. Highlight only meaningful changes more than 12%. Detect in which segments. That might be different, but again, typical ones are device, audience, channel, that kind of stuff. Exclude vanity metrics and group your finding by traffic and engagement, acquisition and advertising performance, website and funnel, and sales and revenue. And then list the top 3 positive shifts worth doubling down on, list the top 3 negative shifts that require attention, provide a short narrative explaining what likely caused those changes, and recommend the team's focus areas for the upcoming week. As you know, Ilya is switching on right now to show you the last chat for today, and then we'll just talk about a very quick checklist that you can apply tomorrow in your business and be successful.
Kind of insightful one. And basically it refers to my uh, my first 3 points that I've mentioned in my intro. So we were asked, okay, we understand the campaigns, right? We receive the information about the campaigns. We want to see the overview in the same chat. And like my question was, okay, why? Because you have the dashboard, you can see the same metrics. You just seen the screen in the presentation, and Ievgen showed you that's pretty much the same. So the same numbers, the same differences. A comparison to the past week, everything is is on the dashboard. I was told there's 2 main points. First, everyone looking at the same screen. No, in dashboard is not possible because uh, different people applies different filters, apply different time range, and they cannot communicate because it requires time to bring everyone at one screen. Uh, in this case, we all, every person from the team is in this chat. They received information from the past week, see the changes, and then they can ask questions and react. So again, same workflow, same uh, let's say same approach, narrowing the idea what happens. But in this case, when we see those kind of metrics, we see that like from the website traffic to the revenue, many KPIs are went up. So basically, we are completely fine. The revenue is growing. Maybe we can add the plan here. It's the good point to add a plan and figure out like how we're doing comparing to the plan. But again, we're growing. Okay, but here we can see that the average cost per order decreased, and that might be the painful moment for the C level because it might reflect the margin. And in the dashboard, we can ask, we can try to figure out ourselves what by each dimension, like campaign, like product category, we can try to map it, but it would require time, and there like it's hard to find the small segments and bring them up to understand what actually was the reason of the average order value drop. So in this case, we actually we came to the point that it was the TikTok campaigns with the different audience was the reason for this case for the AOV drop. The fear was that it was about the discounting, but it was not. So basically, we with the team answered the question that everything is fine. We just started this TikTok campaign. We have to figure out if we can scale it, but there is no like there is no problems with the margin at that point. And of course, if we wanted to have some specific breakdowns like to the product category, this is something that might not appear in the data mart. So again, we designed the flow the way that it's not possible to get the answers on the missing dimension questions. Uh, this is the idea, and the good question about the average order value is to bring is to to have a breakdown by campaigns, by the product categories, and to find the segment which affected the results the most. So that's the idea, pretty much the same, but I hope you liked it. And Ievgen,
All right. So before we wrap up, let me give you something incredibly practical for you for tomorrow morning. Literally tomorrow. Just spend 5 minutes doing this. This is your 5 minute clarity checklist. Number one, run which campaigns weekend versus baseline yesterday. You can use any tools for this. Number two, check which funnel steps declined yesterday. Then review which pages contributed to purchases last week, the most and the least, so you can plan it. Then scan which creatives show signs of fatigue. And finally, confirm what are the three biggest KPI shifts this week. And now imagine working like this every day. Imagine never being confused by any metric again. Imagine catching problems 7 days earlier instead of reacting too late. Imagine knowing exactly where the funnel is leaking as soon as it happens. Imagine every report turning into an insight, not another question. And imagine marketers no longer waiting for data analysts. We're still waiting for them, but imagine stepping into meetings knowing exactly what changed. What are you going to be focusing on? What are you going to be doing? And when would you check the results? This is the new worldview. This is the opportunity switch moving from data overload to clarity on demand. And once you operate this, you cannot go back. So here are your next steps. And this up, not sales, very simple. You have option number one. You can grab your data and ask ChatGPT. Copy the framework, use the prompts. No worries. I'll send it to you by email. Grab your data, run the prompts in Google Sheets with Gemini, load the CSVs to ChatGPT, run it there, use Copilot or any other AI tool. Like, it's up to you. Tomorrow morning, and you can be 10x clearer. Number two, you can give the structured questions that you've used our framework for to your data analyst. Just using the prompts or the frameworks, get it once, tweak, add your business context, add your personal context. Ask your data analysts to schedule these insights daily. So you grab a coffee, check them in the morning. They will love you for clarity, and you will get insights instead of dashboards. Or number three, there is OWOX AI Insights, the ones that Ilya was just showing. This is subtle but important. If you want to scale these insights, automate them, or get them delivered continuously, OWOX makes it easier. We help teams build automated AI insights pipelines using their data. You can collect, model, generate insights automatically from marketing, product, sales, finance, operations for everyone. There is a link in the chat that there is not yet the link in the chat, but it will be here. I'll just drop it in so you can see it. You can use that link, book a call right now, and we will help you set everything up for your data without changing your tools. Like, it's all built for your existing infrastructure. You don't need to rebuild the stack. Again, zero pressure, just the third option. The first one was to go to any AI tool. The second one was to go to your data analyst. This is just the third one. All right. So, as I don't see any questions, let's wrap this up. You don't need more dashboards. You don't need more tabs. You don't need more spreadsheets. You need clarity. You need better decisions, better questions, and better decisions. You need the insights that are worth of your time and your attention. So you can start using these questions today, really today, and you will start noticing the patterns that you will never seen before. Thanks for joining us. And if you'd like to explore how to scale these insights with OWOX, the link to schedule a call with a member of our team is in the chat, or you can go to www.owox.com and schedule a call from there, or you can get started for free and explore it yourself. And with this being said, have a great day, and thanks again for spending this evening or morning with us. Yes, Vadim, we will send you the prompts just in a couple hours from now, maybe tomorrow morning, but I hope we'll be able to do it right today. Thank you so much for joining, and see you next time. Bye.